Leviticus, the top book of the Bible, and honestly, one of the hardest books of the Bible to read. That's why it's popularly called the the graveyard of Bible readers. So people start Genesis, Exodus, it's exciting, it's interesting, and then get to Leviticus, and it's just instructions upon instructions upon instructions, and then people eventually drop the Bible, and that's it. However, I read it, so you can also be motivated to read it also. So today we'll only be focusing on the first chapter. The children of Israelites are just finished constructing the tabernacle. God, Leviticus now focuses on instructions for how to actually make offerings at this tabernacle. The first 5 chapters of Leviticus basically states out the 5 primary offerings that can be offered. But today we'll only be talking about one, which is stated in the first chapter of Leviticus, which is the burnt offering. So the burnt offering is a voluntary act of worship. It is voluntary, free will, and it is an act of worship. Okay, now it's as simple as possible. It is broken into majorly 3 types of things that can be used to make this offering. How significant is it to God, and why I think those 3 things are like that. First of all, bulls, and the process of using bulls to make burnt offerings is highlighted from verse 2 to 9, and at the end in chapter 9 we see that it is highlighted that it is a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. The second one is sheep or goats. If your offering is from the flock of sheep or goats, which is highlighted in verse 10 to 13. And in verse 13, it is said that it is a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. And then the third one is birds, turtle doves, or young pigeons, which is highlighted from verse 14 to 17. It is also what? A sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. But I was like, okay, why? One, it is a voluntary act of worship. So, reading into more context about this, in those days, bulls are obviously more expensive than sheep or goats, and sheep or goats are obviously more expensive than young pigeons and all that. So, people are not equal. People can't offer the same thing. They don't have the same financial capability. Hence, these categories. So it is what you have. That's why I feel this signifies something major to us, which is that it is not by how much or how rich you are. It is your art or your acts of worship that matters more to God, not the size of what you bring. Because as noted before, all these 3 things after being offered, they are all the sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. So the Lord loves worship. God loves worship. And that is what we see here. That is burnt offering in the first book of Leviticus in simple terms. If you have read the book of Leviticus, what is your favorite verse or your favorite chapter? However, if you have not read it, why have you not read it? Follow for chapter 2 and let's get through the Bible together.